Welcome back now to the last stretch. I have got Dr. Joseph Rotich, Tabitha Ogutu, and Wakili Warungu Mwangi in studio. We are talking about the 50+1 equation. Who is going to cross that line, the magic line? Okay, Doctor, we have got Martha Karua equation. We have got Kalonzo Musyoka, who we are going to talk about shortly. But Central Kenya, you know, we've been talking about this for quite a long time. Honorable Raila Odinga started campaigning in Mount Kenya not too long ago, compared to Deputy President William Ruto, who now is said to have made inroads in the region. And as per what the Star says, that Raila Odinga has 29%, if I get it right, Tabitha, 29%?
Yes.
To 49% Deputy President William Ruto.
He has 20.9%.
Right.
Yes.
That speaks a lot, Dr.
I think, Oloo, what I am failing to understand, Oloo, when you look at the politics of Mount Kenya, per se, up to today, those who are in Jubilee, they have not been able to patch their campaign photographs with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. That really tells you the apathy that is there about the Mzee. So in this case, when you talk about...
That could be referred to
I don't know.
strategy.
I don't know. It is not a strategy, Oloo. Let me tell you, for those people who are on the ground, the Jubilee people who are now the Asimio, within the Asimio fraternity, they are supposed to be selling Right Honorable Raila on the ground. And the only way you are selling, we are not selling Martha Karua, we are selling the one to become president, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. So to Ruto, we are selling His Excellency the Deputy President, a presidential candidate. When you talk about the deputies, they are not, to me, it is not a big deal as such, even though I must appreciate that the choosing of Martha Karua by Right Honorable Raila Odinga made pluses in that region, because there are those people who are in that, the real supporters of Martha Karua are the ones who are now, supporting Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And I don't know whether the percentage can go to that 29% or 2.9, I don't know. Yes. That I cannot explain. But one thing I know, it has made some pluses. Now, when you talk about the Western Kenya, Oloo, 70% achievement by those people who were actually put to task, Mudavadi and like Wetangula, it may not be achievable, or it is a tall order. But recently when they were there, the last campaign that His Excellency the Deputy President was there, Oloo, they were saying that you gave us a low figure of 70%, that they were ready to deliver 95%. I don't know whether that is political or it is a realistic kind of thing that can be achieved. But all the same, Oloo, let me take you back a bit. If we talk about the Jubilee government as it is, Oloo, in the last campaign and the winning, and we talk about the NASA region, so that really tells you His Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, must have a big, he has to campaign seriously to occupy the places where he has lost. Yes. Because the former NASA places like now, the coast, you talk about the western, you talk about the eastern, have been invaded by none other than, His Excellency, the Deputy President. He has votes. Like in Western Kenya, 2.1 million voters, registered voters. I strongly believe that both of them will get half-half. And if it will not be half, Right Honorable Raila Odinga will get a little bit higher. But Ruto will have invaded Western by almost half, which was not there during the Jubilee, the campaign last whatever. You go to Western with 1.6 to 2 million votes. Even if Ruto will get 600,000 votes from the Kalonzo backyard, he's still winning, because Jubilee was not there even during that time. It was within the target of Right Honorable Raila Odinga. You go to Coast, the whole of Coast Province, Raila was the main, the household name in the Coast, but it is no longer the case. Now tell me, Oloo, if Jubilee really won by that landslide victory of 1.9 million, where do you think Raila will get that cup to fill in? I'm foreseeing a situation where His Excellency the Deputy President will win by almost the 4 million margin. If that is a dream, let it be.
Huge.
It is huge.
That is huge.
But I'm reasoning with you, Oloo. I'm talking about the former NASA bases where Raila was over-relying. It was his base. Talk about Western.
Right.
No Jubilee was in the Western. Maybe hardly one or two, if there was any. Go to Western, go to the Eastern, Kalonzo Musyoka. How many votes did the Jubilee actually got there? It was Raila's. Go to Coast. Now, with the presence of His Excellency Deputy President in most of these places, I mean, is it a plus or a negative?
Okay. Wakili, we have got 5 counties in Western Kenya. We have got Busia County, Kakamega, Vihiga, Trans Nzoia, and Bungoma County. In the last election, the NASA brigade won in Busia, so to speak. Raila Odinga, who was a presidential candidate, was in Busia, Kakamega, Trans Nzoia, and Trans Nzoia. Jubilee won in Vihiga and Bungoma, which, as at now, the deputy president is trying to make inroads in Kakamega County and the larger, Kakamega County and Bungoma County to retain those zones, so to speak. But then when you say, based on what Honorable Musalia Mudavadi said the other day, in the local dialect, that they wanted an MCA in that particular region, all right? He didn't want a UDA MCA in Vihiga or in Kakamega County. He wanted an MCA in an ANC party. That tells a lot how the ground perhaps is so slippery for these politicians in general.
Remember what Ruto wanted with Mudavadi is to fix him. And I think he had.
What do you mean to fix him? To
fix him in a way that you bring him in Kenya Kwanza, but you still don't want to do a political zoning in areas that he is perceived to be strong. Remember, we are having even an MCA UDA candidate in primarily what could be seen as Mudavadi County, that is Vihiga. And some of these candidates in Western from the UDA seems to be strong candidates compared to those who are in ANC.
Yeah.
So what means that if these candidates win in 9th of August, it will mean that William Ruto will have supremacy or be the supremo person in Western in Kenya Kwanza vis-a-vis Mudavadi. So that one he'll have fixed him and will have dealt with him politically. Remember, William Ruto is a very smart and shrewd politician. Remember, he took, if you do recall, he took the Rift Valley forcefully from the late President Daniel Moi. Remember, he has been trying to take forcefully the Mount Kenya, but very unsuccessful from President Uhuru Kenyatta. So he's trying to fix Mudavadi and throw away Mudavadi from being a leader in Western. Remember, he's not a kingmaker. He's not a king or a de facto king. He's just a local leader.
They're still fighting, because when you go to Bungoma, they have Wamalwa there, Eugene Wamalwa. So Ford Kenya, Moses Wetangula in Bungoma.
So what is happening is that William Ruto want to be the conspicuous and the visible Western leader in Kenya Kwanza vis-a-vis their locals. And most of the ANC and the Ford Kenya have started smelling and sensing this one. And then in fact, they have started raising their voice. But to compare it from a nationalistic perspective, I think Raila Odinga still remain the Western Supremo or the de facto king, not a real king like he controls Nyanza,
yes,
but he controls Western and Coast. Making a visit to a place 1,000 times does not warrant you to have taken a vote from that side. Ruto has invaded nearly every village in this country, but does not mean that he'll get a last man in those last village votes in Kenya. He has made many visits in Kenya places in the last 4 years, other than doing his constitutional role of deputizing President Kenyatta and assisting this government achieve its legacy. So the real test of the visit that he has made will be on 9th of August, and he will be pretty shocked.
Because You know, you've spoken about Vihiga. That is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. And Western Kenya is divided because of, you know, the different regions. You have got different tribes in Western Kenya. That's why perhaps getting that block, that vote block is still, you know, elusive, so to speak. The Mulembe unit is what they call about. When we talk about the Kalonzo effect, who joined Azimio a week or so ago, we've seen them now campaigning together. Tabitha, how is it going to change the mindset of Ukambani? Because we also have the Kamba votes in the coast region who are also following Azimio, as well as Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. We have got Kalonzo Musyoka back, and Deputy President William Ruto also make different inroads in Ukambani. How is it going to pan out? Is Eastern Kenya still remaining to be a swing vote?
Oh, yeah. First of all, Victor, let me weigh in about the Western vote basket. I think the Western, all those counties in the western part of Kenya, they gun up to 2.1 million votes in the national elections. So the task that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi and Honorable Moses Wetangula and the group has is to give 70% of that is around 1.5 million votes. It's elusive. It's elusive. It's not something that you can literally tell me Honorable William Ruto, the Kenya Kwanza coalition, let us be realistic here, can pull up in one electioneering period. It's elusive. And now, what does this mean for the people of Mulembe community, the block there? If they do not get to give 1.5 million voters don't get to vote for Kenya Kwanza, then it only means that if Kenya Kwanza at all forms the government, then they're not able to vote for the coalition. 1.5 million voters don't vote for them. They're not able to get 30% of the government. Yes. So this also puts them at a very interesting, I would say, or a jeopardizing kind of a situation, because then what is their stake even minus?
The national representation.
You get it? Yes. So it's more of a buy and sell situation, and it's not very good for the citizens. So then the people of Western Kenya, because of that, I think it brings something on trust, in whom, even without us giving, because remember Wajakoya also, this is not a two-horses race, Daktari. Wajakoya has numbers. Honorable Wajakoya, he has numbers. And I'm telling you, he's really,
what number?
He's effect. He has numbers. He has young people are really, I'm a young person, and I can tell you without a fear of contradiction, that the young people who literally are awake to the fact that, and they're responding very well to his manifestos, to his beliefs. And by the way, he's youngish. You know, young people, I always tell you that young people like something to identify with. So he'll get votes from young people, a number of votes, which we cannot just sit down here. Every vote counts when it comes to an election. So is a factor here as well. So in Ukambani, as I said, it's been a prayer that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka should just make up his mind and join the camp, and finally he did. Remember, we have Honorable Charity Ngilu, whom she commands a very huge following in Ukambani, in a county. We have Kivuda Kivwana. We have now Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the kingpin of Ukambani. Yes. Even if the deputy president was to make 1,000 inroads there, like what Wakili has said, he's been to every village, and I'll say he's been invading everybody's bedroom, trying to get votes, and that's very nice. It's democratic. But in Ukambani, I think it's very intact. There is something about Ukambani people and how they hold esteem, their kingpins, and the trust they have. So I think he'll get maybe a few votes, because he has a few aspirants there who also maybe will get votes, like one friend of mine who is there. But the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will still have the day in Ukambani. Same to the coast, because you can't just tell us that the numbers will change, because literally the polls don't lie every time. Not all of them, as I said, are of course, the president has foot soldiers. We have got Aisha Jumwa. I'm not disputing.
Down there.
Yes,
right.
I'm not disputing the fact that he has foot soldiers. You know, in terms of deliverables, is what we are talking about. You can have a foot soldier, like what my co-panelists have said. Going to an election and having people turn up. I see the same crowd that turns up for Ruto, Honorable Ruto, when he goes to my, Luanda in Vihiga is near my area. I come from Game in Siaya. Is the same crowd double that turns up for Raila when Raila is around? You get? Yeah. So it's about, I want to see him. He's our leader. It's about now the fact they can see you one-on-one. It doesn't literally translate to votes or anything. So it's about us getting facts as they are and not assuming too much that because you go somewhere and you appear to be popular, then it means literally you are the preferred candidate.
Doctor, we've seen Deputy President William Ruto changing tack in his campaigns. Now he's having regional forum, economic forum, so to speak. That is a tack that he's changed all over because he's saying that this particular election is about changing the economy. Fine. Raila Odinga is also saying that it's about the economy. It's okay. But when you have got the Rigathi Gachagua effect and Martha Karua effect nationally, give me your perspective.
I think, Oloo, if we, as my friend said actually, Ruto has made inroads to every village, almost every village, let me say almost to every village in this country. And out of those inroads, he was able to make almost 166 members of parliament, the sitting members of parliament. I'm not talking about those ones too, which are coming now. And out of that again, these are the people who are campaigning for the UDA party on the ground. The reflection of the strength of the party is in its membership. And in this case, when you talk about the inroads that he has made, and that we are assuming that he has made the little way, I don't see that perspective to be right. But what is realistic is what we can see, what we can hear. Out of every region in this country, be it even in Nyanza, the most unlikely places, he has the strong support in some quarters. So that is the kind of clean politics that we have in this country. It is not about the tribe, it's not about the region so much, but it's about personalities. That is why we are actually saying when the Right Honorable Raila Odinga actually made up his mind to bring on board Martha Karua, that he made some blasts. Part of Mount Kenya are now, believing in Raila's presidency because of the mother. And then, of course, Ruto, it is not the first time that he was in Mount Kenya. He was with His Excellency, the president himself. And now, Rigathi, there was nothing has changed so much about his importance in Mount Kenya. And you can see, Oloo, how they are behaving, how the politics are going on in those sites. It has proved to be very difficult, even for the Martha Karua himself to sell his candidate, of his choice, of her choice. So in this case, what am I trying to say, Oloo? I think this election is a very clean election. And Right Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency, the Deputy President, are almost on equal footing in popularity. But we can realistically say this one is ahead of this one.
Doctor, we all know how elections in this country is. A crowd does not give you a direct representation at the ballot. All right? According to the Star newspaper yesterday, and you've all said that the Deputy President has made inroads in almost every village, so to speak, what you said, in the country. According to the Star newspaper yesterday, if elections were held today, that was yesterday, Raila Odinga would garner 44.6% and Deputy President William Ruto would garner 38.9%.
That's the law. As I told you from the very beginning, the kind of skewed ratings that is happening at the moment is too commercial to be believed. So in that case, when I reason the way I'm reasoning, I'm telling you about the basis of the two gentlemen. What does that tell you? It is not even about the crowd that comes to your meeting. It is about the representations that you can see on the ground. It's about those people who are contesting in the same party. It's about the strength of those people.
The same newspaper around 3 weeks ago had Deputy President William Ruto on the lead. This has changed. And they have been carrying that opinion poll.
Whether Ruto rated first or rated last, in whichever rating that was done, Oloo, I don't believe in these ratings. That is what I'm telling you. So I'm not saying because Raila is leading, I don't believe. While I was believing the other day, no. What I'm saying, the kind of business that is taking on in the rating process is something that is it is putting Kenyans. It is actually a campaign scheme That is how I look at it. It is something that is negotiated somewhere. It is something that they want to woo Kenyans to believe in some direction. I don't really believe on those things.
Although let me respond to
all right. Yes,
three issues.
Before I come to you, Tabitha.
While we need to distinguish between evading and making inroads. What I meant is that William Ruto has evaded every village in Kenya. Inroad in some villages, zero inroad.
I know.
Secondly, Tabitha mentioned
perhaps
about
I'm not getting the difference. Evade and make inroads.
Tabitha mentioned about Wajakoya. Just like in every election, there are different factors.
Yes.
Every election has different political comedian. We used to have Mwalimu Dida in 2013. Politics is not all about aspiration and excitement. It's all about emotion and appealing to the people. Whether he is appealing to the majority of the youth, 55 days before the election, time will tell.
Yes.
The second issue, the third issue is that this election will be decided by the undecided voters, which I mentioned there are 3.6 to 4 million. If we were not in a national television, I would have said that the deciding factor will be the system or the deep state, but I will not push that argument.
I see what you've done there.
Secondly,
I see
the last one before I wrap it up.
I see what you've done there.
Let me mention. I was with Mother Kalu on Saturday in Murang'a and Nyeri. And Mother Kalu is not struggling to make inroads in Mount Kenya. If you watched the latest visit by Rigathi Gachagua,
right,
and you compare with the mother, the one we did on Saturday, then it will be crystal clear who is struggling. And I once advised the deputy president that he was the most praised person to pick any person he did in Mount Kenya, because the Mount Kenya people love him, even without the mother, the Rigathi.
Yeah.
Secondly, I mean, in Azimio presidential campaign team, the strategy we are deploying to make sure that Raila gets vote in Mount Kenya, it's the Kalua strategy. Definitely you will see the Kalua picture and you put your vote there, you'll have voted for the Raila Odinga. That's the strategy. And the last one, between Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who leads the Mount Kenya more?
I'm told you talk towards the microphone. You're getting off the mic.
Between Raila Odinga and Ruto, who leads the Mount Kenya vote more? It's the William Ruto. In the current situation, who is gaining and who is losing? Raila Odinga is gaining.
Yes.
William Ruto seems to be losing.
All right. Tab.
Yes.
The swing vote, according to you, what are some of the swing vote areas? Your own opinion.
Victor, you're supposed to give me the right to reply.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think in maybe 30 seconds, first of all, I would like to say the following, that as a country, I like what the Deputy President said. We are very objective in our conversation. It's not about being in the other part of the divide or whatever. At the end of the day, we are Kenyans with very pertinent issues. And I think the economic talks around our candidature is something very significant. But then, what we are seeing right now, I think Azimio launched its manifesto somewhere around last week, Monday. We are discussing about it very substantially, and we're having public conversation around it, so that when we are going to vote for maybe, let's say I choose to vote for Raila Amolo Odinga today, then I know it's a point of I have read the manifesto, internalized them, asked questions, the public has been given the opportunity to do this. But now, in the Kenya Kwanza divide, they are going to give us the manifesto come June 30th, this month 30th. Now, the biggest I think undoing for Kenyan citizens at this point, even as we want to, because Victor, the biggest question here is how this economic recovery or conversations and what to make better the lives of Kenyans are going to be done is the how. The how is the big question. So when we cannot be able to get these documents and the manifestos in good time, then as citizens, maybe we are not going to be able to, scrutinize these things very well. So as much as we want to have an economic conversations around our politics this electioneering period, it's also important that you tell us what you have, the how, and our stake at it. So Victor, in relation to what we have discussed here today, we are also awake to the fact that as Kenyans, we continue to experience a lot of issues, which I think are at the center in us electing our leaders. For example, we have a budget that was put to us around April this year, and there are contentious issues in that budget. We have a very huge revenue that is supposed to be funding the budget of 3.3 billion estimate of the financial year 2022 and 2023, and revenue collection should be at 2.4 million. Remember, Victor, we are from COVID-19 period where we are still struggling with our businesses, and even as the government says that they have given us access to the loans and the startup capitals, the administration bottleneckness at these particular levels make it so hard for this youth or even the women in business to acquire some of these startup capital and even loans. So when we are being given a 2.4 billion revenue funding to our budget of 3.3 billion, which I think is very, I will say it's our greatest undoing. And we have sectors like the agriculture allocation of its allocation from the previous financial year decreased by around 10 point something %. And remember, we are talking about escalating food prices, which is an issue, and it's something that this politician or presidential candidate should be dealing with, and the allocation in agriculture decreased. So that means our food prices continue to escalate, and that financial bill that was introduced in Parliament, the Finance Bill of 2022, which suggests that there should be an introduction of VAT of maybe 16% on staple food like maize. These are conversations that we really need to have head on.
Which we'll have some other day.
Which for me, as the Deputy President says about having an economic conversation around the candidate of presidency, then we will want to see a situation whereby we have the manifestos, we can vet them based on how well they relate to us with our issues as citizens of Kenya. The bottom line for me is, the gender here is still the part of the agenda, if you ask me. As women of this country, getting one of us to be a deputy president, and it shows how close we are. It's just a click, or I'll say a minutes away from maybe us even actualizing us ever having a female president in this country. Is something that we do not take slightly. So believe me, we might have had some women in this country maybe in terms of gender and affirmative conversation supporting the divide of Kenya Kwanza, but because of the Karua effect, the tune is shifting, because even yesterday or the other day, Karua was in Eldoret, and you saw how people turned up, and this is not something we had expected seeing. It's because we are embracing the fact that as a country, as much as we have a constitution which is very progressive, we are also progressive in terms of actualizing some of the things in that.
But for me, I think that showed a lot of maturity in terms of it's an election period, and the issue of tolerance, and she's been so much speaking about it, that let each and every candidate go to every corner of the country
and sell what they want to do for
you just listen to them. If you're not able to listen, let them go. I mean, there's no need of causing chaos or just disrupting such kind of political rallies, because having a rally is expensive. It's expensive,
and politics come and go as a country, which we still need to stand.
That's the form of tolerance, and the people of Eldoret, good one. Set an example. All right. So let me get to your final remarks here. I'm told that we're running out of time. Daktari, how much of work are the candidates, let me just pick the 4 of them who have been cleared to run, how much of work do they need to put in their campaigns to get the 50% plus one? In 30 seconds, if you can.
I think, Oloo, the kind of campaign that they have actually put off, there is nothing much that can be changed ahead of us, Oloo, towards the election date. Much has been done.
Yes.
The people have already decided if there is any vote that has not decided, it is just a very small percentage. So in this case, these people should, should always pull up their socks and move on and make sure that every bit of what I'm seeing, Oloo, let me just give a remark of what Kenyans should be expecting. IEPC is excellent. It has its mandate to execute, to make this election actually succeed. Number two, the so-called state whatever is not true. It is not very true. It's an imaginative thing. We have had by-election Oloo. What the state has been able to provide has been the security, which of course it has already assured the country that there will be proper security during the election, during and after election. So that will be the function of those people we would be perceiving as the deep state. But managing election or voting is actually give to every Kenyan, and that is what will actually determine the winner and the loser in the next election. It is the Kenyan people.
Thank you, Dr. Kenyan people. Yes, Wakili.
Campaigns are getting to their full gear. Politicians are marketers of their ideas. So it's upon these 4 individuals and their deputies, their inner cohorts, and their strategies to get the best strategies. Remember, I normally say that the last strategy will be employed on 9th of August, which is making sure that you have all people getting to vote. We normally call it a strategy of having the last person in the last village voting for you. What the American normally call go out and vote.
All right, thank you for that. Tabitha? 20 seconds, kindly.
I think in my 20 seconds, I would like to wrap up this in this way, that as Kenyans, we are awake to the fact that this electioneering period is very important to us. But at the same time, we need leaders whom are progressive in terms of ideas and what they want to put forward. And for the first time, I think that for those who have been in power, the track record should speak. And if somebody has been in power for around 10 or something years, very close like this, and they've not been able to implement some of key things, then the big question we should be asking ourselves, what is the miracle, or what can they pull up at this particular period of time? But above all, let us be tolerant, let us support women who want to be elected as leaders and be peaceful, because it's an election that will come and go, but Kenya will remain standing, and it should be politics of objectivity that will make Kenya grow and our economy recover from what we have seen before.
That is the perfect way to conclude that discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Dr. Joseph Rotich, political analyst, Tabitha Ogutu, governance expert and political analyst, and finally we have got Warungu Mwangi, who is an advocate of the High Court. Thank you so much for gracing this particular show. We are done, but I felt like we should continue. In fact, we were saying that we should do until 10. No. All right. Thank you so much for gracing the show, and you as a viewer for being a part of this particular show. And that's where we wind up. Good morning, Kenya, on behalf of my colleagues and the entire crew. See you tomorrow, and have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.